You ever lie in bed, dead tired, and your brain's like, hey, remember that cringy thing you said 8 years ago? Let's relive it on repeat. Yeah, we've all been there. It feels like your mind is against you, won't shut up, won't let you sleep. But here's what most people don't know. That overthinking, it's not random. It's your brain's default setting kicking in. Literally. There's a system in your brain that neuroscientists call the default mode network. And once you understand what it is and how it works, you can actually interrupt that endless loop of overthinking. Not by forcing it to stop, but by working with it. Let's break it down. Think of your brain like a phone. When you're not actively using it, there's still a bunch of stuff running in the background. That's the default mode network, or DMN. It lights up when your mind is wandering, daydreaming, replaying memories, worrying. Basically, it's the mental background noise that fills in the silence. And that's not always a bad thing. The DMN is tied to things like creativity, reflection, and a sense of identity. But if it's left unchecked, it becomes the voice that turns a tiny mistake into a 3-hour anxiety spiral. Here's where it gets frustrating. The DMN doesn't just activate when you're doing nothing. It kicks in when you're not focused. That's why it happens at night, in the shower, or while driving. Basically, when your brain has space, it fills it with thoughts. And often, the loudest thoughts are the ones you don't want to think about. Why? Because your brain is wired to solve problems. If there's something unresolved, like an embarrassing memory, a scary future scenario, or something you said weird, it thinks obsessing about it will help. Spoiler, it doesn't. It just makes you tired and anxious. Overthinking versus problem solving. This is important. Overthinking feels productive. You're mentally running through every possible outcome, trying to prepare. But here's the difference. Problem solving has direction. Overthinking just loops. You don't get new insights. You get mental exhaustion. The tricky part is your brain doesn't actually care if the story it's telling is true or helpful. It just keeps playing it on repeat, unless you step in and gently change the track. So what do you actually do when your brain starts spiraling? First, just notice it. Literally say to yourself, oh, the loop started. That tiny moment of awareness creates space. You're not in the thought anymore. You're observing it. Then shift something, anything. Sit up, stretch, look around. That small physical movement interrupts the mental momentum and gives your brain something new to focus on. But what if it's the middle of the night? You don't want to start pacing around or doing jumping jacks. That's okay. You can still break the loop without moving much at all. Start by grounding into your senses. Instead of fighting thoughts, drop into your body. Feel your toes under the blanket. Notice the texture of the sheets. Listen for distant sounds. Breathe in a slow, steady rhythm. This anchors you to the present. This works because the default mode network can't dominate while you're engaged with the physical world. Still stuck? Try something weird, but backed by sleep research called cognitive shuffling. Just think of random, emotionally neutral words like apple, carpet, windmill, spoon. Rotate through new ones as they come. It sounds silly, but it works. You're giving your brain just enough to stay busy without spinning up a story. And finally, stop trying to sleep. If your brain thinks the goal is, I have to fall asleep, it creates pressure. Pressure creates stress, and that keeps the DMN active. So shift the goal. I'm just resting. I'm letting my body recharge. Ironically, that permission to not sleep, that's often what helps you finally drift off. But the DMN isn't just the source of anxiety. It's also the birthplace of original ideas, and you can turn that into a superpower. It's when you're doing nothing that your brain often makes connections it couldn't make while you were busy. That's why your best ideas show up in the shower or on a walk, but that only works if your relationship with your thoughts is healthy. If your DMN is trained to default to self-criticism, that's the pattern it repeats. If it's been trained to wander with curiosity or creativity, that's where it goes. It's not about control, it's about practice. Simple daily habits can rewrite it. You don't need a big morning routine or a spiritual retreat. You just need small, repeated reps. Here's one that works. 3-minute mental resets throughout the day. That's it. Set a reminder or anchor it to habits. After lunch, before bed, whenever. During that reset, do one of the following. Name 5 things you can see. Take 10 deep breaths with long exhales. Write down one thought you've been looping and ask, is this useful? It's not about being positive. It's about being aware. These moments teach your brain we don't need to spiral, we can redirect. If you've been struggling with overthinking, I want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not bad at handling stress. Your brain is just running a program that no one taught you how to use. But now you know what's going on. And more importantly, you know how to shift it. Try one of those little resets this week. Nothing fancy, just a pause, a redirect, a breath. And hey, if this helped at all, feel free to like, subscribe, or share it with someone else whose brain won't shut up either. We're all figuring it out together. See you next time.